Hello, I'm Rob Napier. I'm from Australia. I've been involved in agricultural education for many years, was principal of an agricultural college for quite some time. I've worked throughout my career with farm families, and in recent years I've been looking at what the best managers in the world, farm managers, are doing, the skills that the farm families have and those managers have, and particularly looking at the skills we're likely to need going forward with all the changes that are happening. And so today I wanted to make a few comments on preparation for a career in agriculture. I've given this short talk the title, "What Would I Do If I Was 18 Years Old and Contemplating a Career in Agriculture?" So, just some ideas. But first, some brief background. As you would know, agriculture, like most industries, is rapidly changing, and with it a need for new skills and new approaches to careers. Many of the skills that are now required are the same for most other industries. They're the broad management skills. And also, agriculture is now integrated vertically along the supply chain, so we need to be able to work with and understand all the steps in the supply chain. And agriculture is also integrated horizontally with other industries, tourism, with the restaurant industries, recreation industries, all that sort of thing. And so the potential menu for a career in agriculture is huge and exciting, but the need for skills, development of capabilities to handle all these new arrangements, particularly the people relationships and so on, that's changing too from what we've traditionally had in agriculture. So for success in agriculture, two skill sets are required. The first is what we call generic skills. These are skills that are required to run any business. So they're people management skills, business management skills, information management skills, marketing skills, skills in critical thinking, in creative thinking, to really think about unusual things that might present opportunities as changes happen, planning skills, not only operational planning, but strategic planning where we look ahead at changes that are coming over the horizon. So that skill set, the generic management skills, become increasingly important as agriculture's been changing. The second set of skills is excellence, of course, in production skills. That's the basis for our performance in farming, and those skills are changing all the time with new technologies, and so we're constantly learning on the job and going to conferences and working with research people, all that sort of thing, to improve our production skills. So generic management skills to run any business, and production skills, we need those two skill sets to be successful in agriculture as we go down the track. Now, if we look at some of the traditional approaches to learning for a career in agriculture, these include leaving school, going home to the family farm, and learning by doing, working on the farm. Also might be leaving school and learning by doing, working on other non-family farms. Or leaving school, going to agricultural college, and traditionally learning mainly production skills. Or going to university and doing science or economics, which gives us some of those generic skills, but not all. And of course, to get into farming, if we're looking at farming, we hope for patrimony. In other words, we might inherit a farm. Matrimony, we might marry into a farm. Or the really difficult one these days with the capital requirements is parsimony, where we save to try and get the assets to own a farm. But the long and short of those traditional approaches is that it leaves most farmers strong on production skills and often not so strong on generic skills. And so I've been thinking, hey, what might we do to get the balance a little more in keeping with the way the industry's going, the balance between these generic skills that you need to run any business and the production skills that you've got to have to run a farm as well. So here are some thoughts, but first of all, there are no recipes. Some of those traditional approaches will still have a role for some people, particularly people from urban backgrounds who might want to ease themselves into agriculture, working on a farm, and maybe add some other skills later on in their careers. But an idea I'd want to throw into the ring is that young people could obtain a thorough grounding in those broad generic skills early on in their careers. These skills are what we call non-perishable. Once you've got those skills, they're skills that should last for a long, long time. They have to be updated, of course, and so on, but the basic skills are not something that's going to become redundant in the short time. And as we've said, they're mandatory for success in the new agriculture. And so this may sound a little bit way out, but I would consider going to the best business school I could find for this learning of these generic skills. Excuse me. I would encourage agricultural colleges and business schools to further strengthen and broaden their offerings in generic skills. So that the students who go through their programs do end up with a good broad offering, including some people management, sociology, that sort of thing, as well as all those that I listed: the business management, information management, marketing, and so on. Another option, combined hopefully with the formal learning of generic skills, is to work with for a period with an agribusiness organisation to better understand supply chains with the vertical integration that's now necessary. And this can help understand the roles of service industries so that from a farming point of view we can work more effectively up the chain with the various organisations that handle our products. If we create value on the farm, we want to keep that value all the way through to consumers. And there's an added advantage of working for an agribusiness organisation before coming back to farming, and that is that it also helps to build off-farm networks. And in some cases where that agribusiness organisation, for instance, may be a plant breeding organisation, it can lead to on-farm research opportunities as well, which can mean that you can be the first with a new idea or a new breed, and you know it works on your particular farm. So a number of things we can do, and another important step might be to work with leading farm businesses across a range of agricultural industries to learn production and practical management skills. So if you've got the formal training with the generic skills, you've got to have a way of getting those production skills up, and one of the best ways is to find really top farmers across a range of industries, work with them, see how they are managing production matters, how they're doing their learning, and working with those sort of people can build confidence and open up a range of career possibilities. Also, young people can benefit greatly from travel. Travel nationally and internationally to benchmark against competitors, so to look what other people are doing and how your particular country or potential business might stack up, to look for new ideas in other parts of your country or other parts of the world, and to learn to think globally, because we're in a global business when we're in agriculture. And also you need to have an open mind as to which agricultural industry you might get involved in. And so if you work in a range of agricultural industries, you can see where you might find a career in a modern, progressive supply chain and that will reward you for being excellent. You don't want to be hooking your career into an industry that really isn't progressive, where you may not be rewarded for doing anything special. So you need to keep an open mind about which industry, agricultural industry, you might get involved in. Another idea, which may seem a little odd, but it's a great one if you can make it happen, and that is when you have a partner. If you do some travelling together, and there's nothing like travelling to bond people together, and there's time to think and talk and discuss what you're seeing and doing, do some travelling together to help develop a common base for planning the future. It can help and at later times to develop business and career goals together with your partner, and share your personal and family goals. And so start early to maximise the learning opportunities and give enough time to achieve those big goals. So some great benefits from working early with your partner, so that you really are learning together and you know what one another's goals are, and you've got time to really do something about it. So if you're choosing a career based on farming, in setting your business goals, these days where farms are growing, where there are new technologies requiring larger scale to use them effectively, you need to start thinking about what constitutes a viable business structure, the size of the business, the management needed, the skills needed, and you need to plot a course to achieve the viable business structure. And you need at the same time to have plans to grow the business further as is required to achieve competitive advantage. And not many people do this, but the people that I've seen do this and decide early where they're really heading and where they believe their business should end up, it's amazing how they're able to achieve that with a bit of vision and the appropriate skills and appropriate goals. Agriculture is a capital-intensive business, so how do you get started in agriculture? You would hope that you might get a kickstart via an early living inheritance, as I call them, where the family is able to give over a small amount of money, enough to get started while you're young enough to use that and have time to grow that money. Or in some cases, young people start to build capital outside of agriculture, maybe through real estate investments and other ways, so that they get that kickstart that enables them to get started with agriculture and then start to grow their business. And the people that do grow their businesses, they look for ways of leveraging capital through leasing, share farming, syndicates, joint ventures, that sort of thing, while they're building up their own capital. So it is possible for young people with limited capital to have a good career in agriculture, and I see a lot of first-generation farming businesses that are outstanding. But they're people that have started early with clear goals. They've leveraged their capital, they've developed a reputation that has encouraged other people to work with them, or even do joint ventures and have some of their capital involved. And it's amazing how people have been able to grow their businesses. And at the same time look for businesses the family could run in conjunction with farming, to better use family resources, to manage risk, get better cash flow, that sort of thing. And on top of that, it's important for young people getting into agriculture to join professional and industry organisations, to develop networks, to find potential business partners, to develop skills, and to help build a personal image as someone who's really going places in the industry. So they're just a range of ideas for young people who are looking to get the right balance of skills and experience to launch a career in agriculture. Perhaps a few little handy hints that I've learned through my time in agriculture. So for people starting a career in agriculture, in the early stages, every dollar is precious. And so if you can resist the urge to buy expensive, depreciating assets such as motor vehicles and machinery, this can conserve precious capital for the land purchases and the leverage that you're going to be necessary. Understand that holidays are an important part of an annual schedule, and so don't work too hard. You need to have time to recharge batteries and also to sit back and plan ahead. So very important that you don't, in the early stages, get too involved in the middle of the forest, that you are able to sit back, refresh, and see where you're going or where you need to be going. Some young people in farm families will need to show leadership in helping organise family meetings where goals are shared and revised, where relationships are built and teamwork built and succession plans and those sort of things are discussed. And it's also necessary, because learning is a continuous thing. Even if you do some of those things I've suggested, it's necessary to build learning plans, formal and informal ones, into your annual schedule so you're continuously learning, and early learning maximises the time to achieve a return on the investment. Part of this learning can be applying for scholarships, such as organisations such as the Nuffield Foundation, which allow you to achieve outstanding learning experiences and at the same time help build a reputation for success. We've got lots of ways for young people to have those sort of learning experiences, but you've got to be energetic and you've got to present in a competitive way to get those sort of scholarships. And all the time look to fill in any skills gaps that are within the family that are necessary to achieve your goals. So I hope those few ideas might be useful. A little bit, some new approaches. If I was 18 and contemplating a career in agriculture, there's some of the things I would think about in order to launch a career with the right sort of skills, the right sort of goals and approach. And I'm sure if you do that, you'll have a wonderful time in the emerging agriculture. Thank you.